Red stockings, kick off, defending the goal to our left. That's the goal in front of the tunnel end. Chelsea, blue shirts, blue shorts, and white stockings. And we've never had a goalless draw at an FA Cup final at Wembley. We don't want one today, folks. The ball's out of play down the near side of the field. It'll be a throw in to Middlesbrough. Philip Stamp will take it. Back it goes to Blackmore. Blackmore, who surprisingly is playing it right back. Curtis Fleming left back at the moment. The throw-in was rather wasted. And here comes Di Matteo sprinting forward for Chelsea. Poaching the goal. Shoots! And it's into the net, my word! And it's the fastest ever goal in an FA Cup final. 44 seconds. He beats Jackie Milburn's record set in 1955 by just 1 second. What a dramatic start. What a shot. What a goal by Di Matteo. Chelsea won. Middlesbrough nil.
Well, first of all, full marks to Chelsea for that start. It really was wonderful. People ask me how I thought Middlesbrough would start. It's that build-up from the back. It went out to the right side. Matteo was there. They actually had an overlap as well. But Matteo went in and he thumped it. I can't tell. The position of Roberts was sideways on. But it looked to dip just under the bar. Caught the underside of the bar. Bounced into the net. Fantastic start by Chelsea. Now then, Middlesbrough, what can you do about that?
Here's Zola. Forward to Hughes. Hughes immediately tackled. And Middlesbrough behind. And talk about lucky commentators, Jim. You know, all these silly facts that you check before an FA Cup final. And I always look at that Milburn record and think, wow, no one will ever beat that. I wait for confirmation, but I think that was the fastest ever goal. And as Middlesbrough break forward through Juninho, he's offside. He's immediately tackled anyway by Steve Clark. And the ball's out of play. It'll be a Chelsea free.
I remember Milburn's goal. And you do. Well, I didn't expect that to happen here. I really didn't expect that to happen. I thought Middlesbrough would try and stay secure at the back. And when I looked, they had 3 men at the back. I don't know what happened to the left side, the defence. Nobody sort of came round to check Matteo, who was coming right down the middle, virtually, just to the right of middle, and he stumped the ball into the back of the net.
Di Matteo, on his home debut for Chelsea, scored the only goal against Middlesbrough. And with just 2.5 minutes played at Wembley, Chelsea are in front, and Middlesbrough must be rocking mentally. They must be. What a week they've had. I was with them at Ellen Road last Sunday, and they just ended in complete despair, notably Juninho. They're on the attack, Middlesbrough, but once again they're caught offside. Last time it was Juninho, this time it's Ravanelli. And Ravanelli's fitness, Jimmy, you know, there's got to be a doubt about that. I think they're taking had to take a risk, perhaps.
Probably so. And we'll see how he gets along. Just one thing I've noticed, Alan, with all the excitement at the start, Middlesbrough started with Blackmore at the right side of defence and Fleming to the left side.
You didn't hear me say that?
I didn't hear you, Alan. I was so excited with the start.
Well, what an opening. And now there's a free kick for a foul awarded against Festa. And it's a free kick to Chelsea. It's around about 35-40 yards from goal. And the goal scorer, Di Matteo, will take it. He's got Sinclair to his right. But Di Matteo's looking further forward where Petrescu is. The first Romanian to play in an FA Cup final. And the pass is to Petrescu. Now Sinclair on the attack down the right. Good challenge coming in from Curtis Fleming. Puts the ball away to Hignett. And Hignett still just a few yards ahead of his penalty area. Emerson ahead of him. Oh, Hignett loses the ball. Di Matteo's there, approaching the penalty area. Oh, he heads Zola to his left. It's in the box now. Hughes can't control it, and it's run away by Musto. And it's a very, very nervous start by Middlesbrough. Juninho to Ravanelli inside the centre circle. Juninho comes to the near side and takes up possession. Blackmore ahead of him. 4 minutes gone. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. Ravanelli looking for Emerson, looking further forward to Stamp inside the penalty area. Emerson there too, and it's a defensive clearance behind for a corner, according to the referee, off Clark.
Well, that's something that Middlesbrough could do with. Just gets them out of their own half. First real sortie towards Chelsea's goal. And Emerson, noticeably, got himself up into the front line there. We haven't seen too much of that this season.
Corner to Middlesbrough. Down at the Chelsea supporters' end, away to our right. Slapped in by Higgins. Emerson was there. It was headed on, and it was passed by Pearson. But he just got away from his marker, got a firm header in, but not quite on target.
No, it was a bit low down, actually. Ball was driven in by Hignett from the right, and Emerson missed it, but it came to Pearson. He's a crucial player for them when it comes to aerial battles. He got his head onto it, just went past the post.
Middlesbrough only the 7th club to reach both major English finals in the same season. And only Sheffield Wednesday have lost both of them. Chelsea, the favourites, are ahead here. Fleming plays the ball back to the edge of his penalty area. Pearson forward to Robbie Mustoe, the anchor in the midfield. Short pass by Mustoe, didn't reach Juninho. Chelsea have it back. Zola to Newton. Good run forward by Di Matteo. Not spotted. The pass is shorter to Zola. And then Hughes. Chelsea have started so brightly. And a goal up, and they've won another free kick. And this one's only about 30 yards out. Well, it wasn't taken to the right spot, Di Matteo, but the referee, Stephen Lodge, allowed it to go. It was taken short. And now it's back and chipped forward by Sinclair down the far touchline. And just kept in play by Dennis Wise. Wise's tackle, loses it, but it's out of play, and it's going to be a throw into Chelsea. Last touch was a Middlesbrough touch. Chelsea, a goal up here, and I've started so brightly. Sinclair, infield to Newton. Newton back to Leboeuf, and Leboeuf rather hurried into that clearance, but finds the halfway line, and then it's played back by Scott Minto, all the way back into his penalty area to his goalkeeper, Grotus, the Norwegian. And that's a dangerous ball out of the penalty area to Leboeuf as well. Leboeuf was alert to the danger of Juninho, and it's hit up over the halfway line. Hughes in his 5th FA Cup final. Zola's touch, not a good one. Intercepted by Mustoe. Then Juninho immediately tackled by the shaven head of Leboeuf. Wise for Chelsea. To Zola. Scorer, of course, against England back in February in the World Cup qualifier. His team in front here. Only 6 minutes gone at Wembley. His Italian colleague with a goal, Roberto Di Matteo. Here's another Italian. Festa lifts it away to the near side of the field. Blackmore has the ball, midway inside his own half. Infield it goes to Mustoe. Emerson is close by, but a peripheral figure in that Middlesbrough midfield so far in the game. 7 minutes played. Blackmore hits it forward. Stamp again is caught offside, and his Chelsea defence is very well organised.
Middlesbrough were a bit slow in the build-up there. Stamp had set off once or twice, really. Chelsea were holding the line about 15 yards inside their own half, and Stamp went once, came back. He went a second time. Just a bit too late with the pass, Blackmore.
Dennis Wise, the Chelsea captain. A winner here 9 years ago, and a dramatic result, certainly, when Wimbledon beat Liverpool, preventing Liverpool winning the double. Ball played forward by Leboeuf, but once more the flag is up for offside. Now Middlesbrough are playing that game. Roberts takes the free kick, finds Fleming. Forward it goes in the far side to Hignett. And back to Emerson. I noticed that the Duchess of Kent had a word with the two Brazilians in that Middlesbrough lineup. I don't know what she was talking to Juninho about, but presumably she was asking Emerson where he had his hair done. Mustoe loses the ball to Newton, and now Wise up over the halfway line. Steps away from Emerson, and back it goes to Sinclair on the far side. Now Leboeuf. Chelsea playing 4-4-2 when they've usually played this season with 3 central defenders. Now Sinclair on the far side, the right back this afternoon. Infield to Newton. Zola. Di Matteo again. Back to Sinclair. Very confident start by Chelsea. But a wasted ball there by Sinclair. He acknowledges it. Puts his right hand up to say, I'm sorry. Juninho to Blackmore. Near side, right back today. Not left back as he has been in recent matches. Up over the halfway line, Middlesbrough. 8 minutes gone. Chelsea 1. Middlesbrough 0. Juninho hurt by the goal. Plays the pass through, but is a little ahead of Philip Stamp. And it's collected by Grotus.
It's a lovely ball. Oh, the intention of it was very good. Just slightly overhit. Stamp did well. Came in from the right-hand side. Just a little bit too far for him.
Long clearance upfield by Chelsea, and Hughes is after it. Back it goes. Still in Chelsea's possession. Di Matteo. Good run forward by Minto. Unchecked. Fed through. Minto's there. Might be two. And he puts it through the legs of the goalkeeper. And it's just stopped by Stamp before it crosses the goal line. And Chelsea so close to being 2 goals up.
Well, it should have been 2, really. He should have stuck that away. I think he was stretching a little bit to it. It looked to me like a pretty good chance. Anyway, Roberts just got enough on it to clear it, and Stamp was there to take it away off the line.
Leboeuf back to his goalkeeper, Grotus. We're still trying to work out the precise time of the goal, but it is the fastest ever. That's for certain. Beating Jackie Milburn's for Newcastle against Manchester City back in 1955.
Well,
why weren't you counting, Jimmy? I expect you to be counting at that stage, you know.
I'm too excited.
You don't rely on my stopwatch, do you?
I'm always excited.
I know you are. You're always excited. Sit beside me.
But Chelsea has started well. That goal has given them a terrific confidence. Di Matteo, who got the goal, he's looking very confident in midfield. It's a wonderful start for him.
Dennis Wise for Chelsea. Over the halfway line. Not a great ball forward. Doesn't find either Hughes or Zola. And it's only partially cleared by Pearson. That was not a good clearance by the Middlesbrough captain. Chelsea have the ball again. 10 minutes gone. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. Leboeuf hits it deep. Hughes into the penalty area. Chests it down. Then he's tackled by Blackmore's former Manchester United colleague. They played in the 1990 final together, and then it's cleared up over the halfway line to Chelsea's possession once more. Sinclair. Zola's come deep. Zola lets it run. It was Petrescu who ran after it, couldn't collect it. Then a mistake by Fleming, almost let Hughes in. And these are anxious early moments for Middlesbrough in their second Wembley final of the season. Of course, they drew the first after extra time with Leicester and lost in extra time in the replay at Hillsborough. Behind again here, 1-0 down to Chelsea. And not getting anywhere with that pass by Hignett, intercepted by Sinclair. And now Newton to Wise. Chelsea look much the better team at the moment. Good tackle there by Festa. And Festa puts the ball back into Middlesbrough's possession, but Juninho is being hustled out of it here, and it's back with Chelsea, and that's good play by Scott Minto, spotting that Mark Hughes had an injury, just hits it out of play so that the Welshman can receive treatment. Well, maybe he doesn't need treatment, because Stephen Lodge says don't come on.
No, he's all right. Initially, there was a lovely ball from Ravanelli out wide to Hignett, and he rushed the clearance. He had plenty of time. That's the tension in Middlesbrough's play at the moment. And just prior to that, Fleming had all the time in the world, and he tried to play it into the centre of his own penalty area. Fortunately, Pearson got him out of trouble. Two incidents there that just illustrated the nervousness that's in Borough's play.
It's a bit hot, isn't it?
I
mean, we are steaming up here, so what's it like out there? Head upfield, the ball by Chelsea. Clark towards Hughes, who tried to lay it into the path of Zola, knocked away by Pearson. Headed back by his opposite number, Leboeuf, into the centre circle. Emerson now being hustled by Di Matteo. Emerson holds off one challenge, not a second though. The referee says that's a foul by Mark Hughes, and it's a free kick to Middlesbrough. And Emerson's not in the game at the moment, and frankly neither is Juninho.
Not yet, just one or two incidents from Juninho, but Emerson hasn't got into it at all yet.
Here's Ravanelli, also anxious to make an impact, but not with that pass. And it's hit upfield by Di Matteo, deep into the Middlesbrough half, and only Festa is there. Another Italian. It's remarkable, isn't it, the number of foreign players out here today. Did you ever see a day coming, Jim, when you were playing a game that there'd be so many Italians involved in English football at such a significant level? No,
not really. I suppose really, the floodgates, if that's the right word, opened a few years ago when it was, when the Premiership was formed, and a lot more money comes into the game, and players, of course, look after themselves wherever they play.
Blackmore with a throw-in to Ravanelli. Ravanelli trying to find Juninho and doesn't. He finds instead Eddie Newton, and Newton plays it upfield. Wonderful header down by Hughes. Petrescu. Zola to his right, so to his Sinclair on the overlap. It goes to the Italian. Infield again to Petrescu, and Festa had to make that challenge and made it securely and hit the ball out of play for a throw-in.
That overlap that brought with the goal, Sinclair was there again if needed on the right-hand side. That build-up from the back is Chelsea's strength.
13 minutes gone. Chelsea ahead on the attack again, but this time Petrescu's cross only finds Ben Roberts in the Middlesbrough goal.
And there's only Ravanelli up the field. He was looking out there, Roberts, to try and get a quick break for Borough, but there was only Ravanelli in the front line. Middlesbrough need to get some men forward when they do get the ball into Chelsea's half. He's a bit stranded at the moment, Ravanelli.
So too is Juninho. Three Chelsea players around him, but not surprisingly, Chelsea take the ball. Di Matteo into the centre circle, and now the Romanian Petrescu. Sinclair on the far side. Di Matteo's close, so the pass goes to the Italian. Back to the Frenchman, Leboeuf. 25 yards short of the halfway line. Now Sinclair the right back once more. And Petrescu was the right wing back. Sinclair onto Di Matteo. Lovely football by Chelsea. Zola to Hughes. Great control by the Welshman. Now running towards the penalty area. Needs a little bit of support across there. Zola's the only one close by. Hughes, as ever, holds the ball up well. He's such a great line leader, Mark Hughes. And now Petrescu spots the run by Minto into the penalty area, but he was tracked back well there by Stamp from Middlesbrough, and it's cleared to Juninho. Up over the halfway line. Only Ravanelli in an attacking position. Back to Juninho. Slip to the far side, and Hignett. Down the Middlesbrough left. Infield it goes to Curtis Fleming. The run through the middle by Stamp, and also by Ravanelli. One or both were offside.
Yes, it's a bit laboured, Middlesbrough's build-up. And constantly, it allows Chelsea's back line to push up whenever required. And 3 times now on the run, it's left Middlesbrough players stranded in offside positions.
Well, it's only 3 years since Chelsea lost here in the FA Cup Final. They didn't just lose it, they were hammered by Manchester United, the first of United's 2 doubles in 3 years. But Chelsea, maybe it is their day. Di Matteo, the goal scorer, looking to find Zola, finds Hughes instead, and only because of the tenacity of the Welshman. Terrific play by Mark Hughes. Away on the far side. Back to Sinclair. Petrescu. It looks initially in this opening quarter of an hour as if Middlesbrough are going to get a bit of a lesson here. They're already a goal down and they look a very anxious side out there. Muster, though, for the team in red to Clayton Blackmore, who knows what it's like to play in a winning FA Cup final for Manchester United against Palace 7 years ago. And now Emerson to Ravanelli over the halfway line, but not much into the Chelsea half. Back to Fleming. Hignett on the far side. Fleming once more. Janino's the furthest forward for Middlesbrough. Musto can't find him. In fact, only finds Scott Minto, who just came back and covered in the left-back position. And now Zola likes to play deep. Well behind Hughes. He collects the ball. Back to Minto. Good pass forward to Zola again, whose initial pass wasn't that good. And now Wise, the captain, to Di Matteo. Hughes is there. Petrescu makes the run. Wise just holds the ball up. Finds Sinclair on the far side. 16 minutes gone. Lovely play by Chelsea. Di Matteo to Sinclair. Right into the penalty area. Hughes pulls back. The pass doesn't come in. And there is a foul, and it's Sinclair's foul. And it's a free kick to Middlesbrough.
Yeah, Sinclair lost his head then. Got themselves in a great position, Chelsea. There was one or two lovely little touches. The one by Di Matteo really set it all up. But Sinclair, pushing up on that right side, is just giving Borough a problem on their left. It's as though they're overloading, coming from the back. I've seen them do this quite a few times this season. And when they're going well, that's when they're really playing. When these two full-backs are pushing in behind the midfield players and pushing beyond them as well.
This is, of course, Middlesbrough's first FA Cup final. Chelsea have had 4 previous FA Cup finals and only 1 win, but they haven't won at Wembley. I remember it well. Back in 1970, against Leeds in the replay at Old Trafford, remarkably, over those 2 games, Jimmy, they were only ahead for 16 minutes of the 240. They're ahead very early on now. 1 goal up, but Middlesbrough try to counter. Emerson runs forward, chasing a long ball and wins the ball. Left of the Chelsea penalty area, the Brazilian. Back it goes to Hignett. Ravanelli and Stamford, Janino away. There's the cross. Out comes Grotus, and he just flicks it away with his left palm. And it's to safety for Chelsea, and Minto takes it clear. 17 and a half minutes gone. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. Pearson climbing all over Hughes, but the referee says that Hughes was backing into the player.
Quite right. Hughes never jumped at all. He's pleading innocence now. Pearson jumped at the ball, and Hughes never jumps. In that situation, the back player can get badly hurt. But so the thing is, it's his job really to try and jump for the ball. The referee's absolutely right.
And isn't it great? After 18 minutes, the referee, well, finally noticed him. That's a good sign. Good sign. Well played, Stephen Lodge. Stephen Rhodes.
From Barnsley. Been a good year for Barnsley altogether.
Great year for Barnsley. Throw into Chelsea. Down the near side. Wise takes it. Back to Steve Clark. 10 years at Stamford Bridge now. The Scot hits it upfield. And this time it is a foul by Pearson on Hughes. Hughes wasn't backing in. Pearson was pushing in.
2 tough lads, those two. They're going to have a bit of a battle this afternoon.
18 minutes played. Again, the Chelsea free kick is short. Wise, the captain, to Di Matteo, the goal scorer. And now Sinclair on the far side. The action inside Middlesbrough half, to our left at the tunnel end. Eddie Newton trying to find Hughes, knocked away by Festa, collected by Newton again. Sinclair's available. Newton doesn't need him. He's about 35 yards from goal. Musto's short. Good ball to Petrescu. And now Hughes. Petrescu chases after the pass. It's slightly overhit by Hughes and behind for a goal kick. And Petrescu's a little frustrated.
There's a bit more finesse in Chelsea's play at the moment. 1 or 2 neat touches there in the end. The run through by Petrescu, again on that right side. That's where the real threat seems to be coming to me from Chelsea. But Hughes looking for a 1-2, just overplayed the ball slightly. And Borough will be relieved about that.
Ben Roberts had absolutely no chance for the goal. It was struck magnificently by Di Matteo from around about 30 yards, and it was dipping, and it came in off the underside of the crossbar for such a dramatic opening in this 116th FA Cup final. We played nearly 20 minutes at Wembley Stadium. The sun's gone in, but it's still mightily warm in North London this Saturday afternoon. Wise, who might already be thinking of lifting the trophy in about an hour's time, plays it to Zola, and then it's aimed at Minto. Knocked back, though, by Blackmore for Middlesbrough, back to his goalkeeper, Roberts. And now Festa. 20 minutes played. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. Fleming of the Republic of Ireland on the far side. Infield to Pearson, who was injured early on in Middlesbrough season. And, my word, they lacked his experience and shipped a lot of goals and points early on. Costly goals. costly points. Ravanelli again is caught offside as Blackmore hits the ball long upfield. And, you know, the three prominent foreign players from Middlesbrough, Jimmy, Ravanelli, Juninho and Emerson, just haven't been able to get into the game.
Not yet. Still time. The point is, though, that that's the fourth time Borough have been offside. Chelsea moving up, and I always think that offers a bit of a hope, really, because they're playing quite square, Chelsea, and there wasn't quite as much in that one as there was in the other three. They're going to have to be careful because the Borough, I think, are trying to employ that tactic to play the ball at the angle through the space. We should see.
Good ball by Blackmore to Juninho. Ravanelli ahead of him and stabbed through into the penalty area. Ravanelli's there, it's knocked away by Sinclair. Grotus goes wide, and Grotus simply hits it out of play to safety. Ravanelli was close there. He was close. Throw into Middlesbrough on the far side. He's hurt himself. Well,
it's the hamstring, Alan, I think.
Well, it's the sciatic nerve, Jim. We thought it was a hamstring at Old Trafford, but it wasn't. It was a sciatic nerve. And he's already signalled to the bench that his FA Cup final may be over. Hignett, back to Fleming, to Emerson, edge of the penalty area, tackled and loses it. Already Ravanelli is off the pitch and probably out of the cup final, and no doubt Nico Beck will be coming on shortly. We've only played 21 minutes, and it's gone completely against Middlesbrough.
Yes, Ravanelli is now getting treatment.
His hand action there seemed to signal a tear. A hamstring tear anyway. Di Matteo, the goal scorer on the attack, into Petrescu. Petrescu lifts it over the goalkeeper, and it's headed behind by Pearson.
Well, the Middlesbrough players there were looking for the offside whistle. It never came. The offside flag, which never came. And it could easily have been a second goal. While Borough were trying to reorganise themselves and looking at Ravanelli. Chelsea escaped down the right-hand side. Petrescu actually lifted the ball over Roberts. Fortunately, Pearson was alert to it. He's headed it behind for a corner. Could have been another goal, Alan.
22 minutes gone. Chelsea a goal up through Di Matteo, and Petrescu wrecking havoc down the Chelsea right. The corner's taken short, and now it's played in deep by Zola. Headed away before Sinclair can do anything. Collected by Di Matteo. Di Matteo tackled by Juninho, but the ball is back to the halfway line, back to the possession of Scott Minto midway through the first half. Chelsea a goal up, and here's Mike Ingham.
At any moment now, Beck will come on for Ravanelli, who on his way back to sitting down behind there, got a handshake from Gianluca Vialli, who's one of the Chelsea substitutes today. A year ago, of course, the two of them were in the same Juventus team, winning the European Cup. So Mikael Beck, the Dane, will come on very shortly as Middlesbrough make a mistake. And the shot came in once more from Dan Petrescu this time. He's appealing for the corner kick. And the referee, Steve Lodge, says it's a Chelsea corner, but he's having to look all over the pitch at the moment because now the attention is being drawn to the fact that Beck, number 9, comes on. Ravanelli's cup final lasting just 21 minutes. Robbie Mustoe is coming over at the moment. What's going on here? It's a Chelsea corner. Robbie Mustoe, the corner is taken. Mustoe is off the pitch at the moment, talking to the Middlesbrough bench. The corner was taken. In the meantime, Roberts makes the save. Well, I can't understand that. Why wasn't Mustoe back defending as that Chelsea corner came in? You're listening to 5 Live at the cup final. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. The goal, we think the quickest by about a second, in a cup final at Wembley, scored by Roberto Di Matteo, beating Jackie Milburn's the Newcastle against Manchester City in 1955. And all you ever want, really, Jim, to give you a chance in a cup final is an early goal, isn't it? We got it.
Well, it certainly does wonders for the confidence. I keep wondering what Mustoe was doing there. When Chelsea got a corner and he came over to the bench.
He's coming off, I think.
I think he must have an injury.
Vickers is coming on.
Yes, I think he's got an injury.
I've just seen Steve Vickers, the centre-back. So Middlesbrough are going to be all over the place at the moment. Vickers, who's a defender, will come on. So they'll presumably have to switch to 3 centre-backs. As Emerson, that'll leave them now short in midfield without Mustoe. The ball is with Stamp. Middlesbrough still to really test Grodas away to the right. Now Juninho finding Emerson, laid off early to Stamp down the right-hand side. Beck, who's just come on for Ravanelli, looking for his first touch in the area. Stamp going powerfully forward, but taking on too many Chelsea players. Good interception by Steve Clarke. The clearance by Wise into the Middlesbrough half. Pearson against Zola. Pearson did well there. And Pearson holds the ball. And Vickers, the former Tranmere defender, is going to come on soon. We're almost certain for Robbie Mustoe, who seemed to be in the process of coming off as Chelsea were about to take a corner a few moments ago. The ball is with Emerson. So much now, even more on his shoulders if Middlesbrough are going to get back in the game. The pass was too short, aimed towards Beck. Good challenge by Frank Leboeuf of Chelsea. Chelsea looking so assured and with the confidence of the goal scored after around 43, 44 seconds. And now Clayton Blackmore, who, against expectation, is playing right-hand side for Middlesbrough, bringing the ball up to the halfway line, knocks it about 15 yards into Craig Hignett. Hignett lays it left. Juninho doesn't control it. Away by the goal scorer, Di Matteo. Now Dennis Wise, the Chelsea captain, across the field to the excellent Petrescu. Petrescu tried to lift the ball over Fleming, instead played a shorter pass to Di Matteo, back inside the Chelsea half, tidied up by Sinclair, but a mistake by Chelsea in midfield. Beck now, all on his own, twisting and turning. Juninho as Newton backs off. Ball comes across to the right-hand side, and Blackmore. Stampen, Beck in the area. Poor cross coming in, though, from Blackmore. Easily headed away by Sinclair, the man who had a poor cup final against Manchester United, conceding, of course, a couple of penalties 3 years ago. Now a long one from Blackmore. Stamp flicks it on. Hignett's there in the area. So too is Leboeuf. Leboeuf with super skills, beating Hignett and knocking it down this near side to the Chelsea captain Dennis Wise. Wise 10 yards from the halfway line. Across the field it goes to Petrescu. Lovely first touch from him. And now Di Matteo just inside the Middlesbrough half. On his outside is Zola. So many people thought he would score the first goal today. Zola's ball in is too near Roberts. Hibs 1, Airdrie 0. Steve Cooper has scored that first goal today for Hibs in Scotland. Here at the cup final, 26 minutes gone in the first half, and Middlesbrough have never really recovered from being stunned after 43 seconds, or was it 44 seconds? We haven't got the official time yet, of Di Matteo's goal. Juninho's ball is cut out by Leboeuf, and now Petrescu once more inside the centre circle. Chelsea playing towards the tunnel away to our left. The ball is with the underrated Eddie Newton, the man that plays the holding role in midfield. Near side now is Minto. Back again to Wise. Chelsea playing it around easily with a lot of confidence. Across it goes to Sinclair, playing at right back. Laid off to Leboeuf, and now Roberto Di Matteo. And what a story with him and his family, of course, which we'll perhaps pick up on in a moment if there's time. Roberto Di Matteo, 15 yards inside the Middlesbrough half, down the far side. Into Zola. Zola now lays it wide to the far side, and Sinclair. Good possession football from Chelsea. You should have seen Hullet, by the way, when Di Matteo scored. I don't even think he even got out of his seat. He was looking so cool and composed, like his side, after they made that dream start. Ball is with Hughes. Hughes up against Pearson. Knocks it off to Petrescu. Petrescu in the middle of the midfield at the moment. Petrescu looking down the left-hand side for Minto. Cut out, though, by Blackmore. Blackmore's little ball infield to Juninho. And now can Middlesbrough counter-attack? Craig Hignett taking it over on that left-hand side. Good running from Beck. At the moment he's offside, though. He can't receive the ball. Hignett laid it in and Stamp was offside. And I think what I'd like to do now, as Vickers is going to come on, is bring in Martin O'Neill, who, of course, was here with Leicester against Middlesbrough in the League Cup final. Martin, nearly half an hour gone. What are your impressions?
Well, you have to feel really sorry, Mike, for Middlesbrough. They've made 2 substitutions. Now perhaps it looks as if maybe Musto's gone into the game injured. We certainly knew that there was a doubt about Ravanelli, but you do really genuinely feel sorry for him. I think for them to hang into the game, I don't care whether they get another attack going in this half at all, just not to concede a goal. That's the most important thing for them at this minute. I really don't care whether they get another attack, and that's looking at it from a Middlesbrough perspective.
Thank you, Martin. And actually, they could so easily be 2-0 down here. Scott Minto, after 10 minutes, might have scored for Chelsea. In the meantime, the ball is bouncing around on the left-hand side, and it's a throw to Middlesbrough. Jimmy Armfield.
Yes, well, I certainly agree with Martin about that. The fact that Musto's come out of it. Now, I'm looking to see what's going to happen. Vickers has gone to the back. Fester has come into the central area to play probably just behind Emerson. I think that's a key area for Borough. This next period of the game, the next 10 or 15 minutes, is crucial to them. It's important for them. Keep the back door shut.
Robbie Musto, we think, has got a knee injury. He's sitting down there with Ravanelli at the moment. And all the plans, all the preparation suddenly out of the window from Brian Robson, really. Has to start all over again now in this game. A goal down, and he's already had to make 2 changes because of injuries to Ravanelli and Musto. Middlesbrough have the ball just inside the Chelsea half. The ball is with Blackmore. Blackmore knocks it down the line. That's a good ball. Fester now in an unfamiliar position down the right-hand side. Good challenge, though, by Clark, the longest-serving player at Chelsea. 10 years he's been with the club. And he's been revitalised this season under Ruud Gullit. That's a throw to Middlesbrough.
It's a good run by Fester from midfield. Vickers will be all right. He's solid. Good bread and butter player, I would call him. You know, he really does do a pretty good job when he's in there. And I think at this particular moment, that's what Middlesbrough need. Blackmore, I think, has started well, and Pearson has as well.
Middlesbrough throw, Chelsea songs. Festa tries to win the ball in the air, and in the end it's Sinclair knocking it long up to the halfway line. And lovely layoff from Hughes. Great challenge, though, by Pearson for Middlesbrough. And now Hignett looking to try and find Beck. And he was onside, but out came Grodas to make the save. And it's a great throw from Grodas down the right-hand side to Dan Petrescu. So many top coaches have been eulogising about Petrescu this week, but that time he didn't go forward. And Juninho has it now just inside the Chelsea half. He's running with the ball and running into trouble, but Emerson hits it and didn't really look, and that's dreadful from Emerson. Straight back at Grodas in that Chelsea goal away to our right.
If Middlesbrough can just start getting one or two of the passes together here, I think there are signs that they are starting to come into the match a little bit. The passes have been overhit, a little bit of tension. It's still in their play after conceding that goal in the very first minute. I understand the problem that they've got, losing Ravanelli and Musto as well.
We played just over half an hour in the first half of the cup final. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. Emerson eventually emerges with the ball and hits it to this near side. This is the Middlesbrough right in the first half. Clayton Blackmore knocks it back, and it's a little bit loose, but Juninho shows great control and then drags the ball back to Fleming, who's playing over on the left-hand side for Middlesbrough. And Middlesbrough just starting to ease their way back into the game perhaps here now. Just starting to get a bit more possession. Juninho cut out by Zola. And now Sinclair playing at right back for Chelsea. Good challenge, though, by Vickers on Mark Hughes. The ball will break to Petrescu, wide on that far side. Little ball infield to Zola. Only Hughes downfield at the moment. Zola holds just inside the Middlesbrough half. Plays it into the centre circle, where it'll be laid off to Scott Minto. And now Minto shuffles forward, rather like Di Matteo did on the way to scoring the goal. Hughes tried to return the ball to, and Hughes is saying Minto was caught and couldn't go for it. In the meantime, the game continues. Hughes unaware that Di Matteo's got it. Played left-footed into the area and cleared by Middlesbrough. Hughes would have really been better off actually charging forward because Chelsea had attacking possibilities. Still, he's protesting about the challenge on Minto. In the meantime, it's out of play over on the right-hand side, and Chelsea have taken the throw-in. Back with Frank Leboeuf on the halfway line. Following in the footsteps of Cantona, Frenchman in last season's cup final. The ball is back with Roberts. Now, Roberto Di Matteo's sister is blind, and I know she's here today. And imagine the look on her face when she would have been told that her brother had scored probably the quickest goal ever in the history of the FA Cup at Wembley. Now, Stamp down the Middlesbrough right, charging well. In goes Clark. He hasn't cleared it yet, and he does well to avoid conceding a corner kick as well. So she may not have the vision. I think her name is Conchita, but the sound and the happiness on her face, I'm sure, when her brother scored here to give Chelsea the lead after just 44 seconds. Throw into Middlesbrough. Juninho takes responsibility. Blackmore stabbed it rather half-heartedly at Scott Minto. Chelsea trying to clear. Middlesbrough competing well, though. Hughes is back inside his own half, but Pearson's wrestling with him. And Stephen Lodge, who's made a good start, the referee, gives the free kick to Chelsea.
Well, it was a good break from Burr initially. Stamp made the wrong selection. He had a chance to whip the ball across, and he didn't. He tried to cut inside Clark and lost out. The ball came back, and we had another clash between Pearson and Hughes. That really is a titanic battle this afternoon, a physical one. Pearson's not giving Hughes an inch.
And the free kick is taken by Clark, who's had to play just about every position in the defence this season for Steve Clark. Hughes, beautiful layoff to Zola, and now Wise, centre of the Chelsea midfield, looks across to the left-hand side for Minto to make a run. Minto's there, keeps it in, across comes Stamp, Minto goes past him, shows a bit too much of that to Blackmore, and the ball will break for Emerson. And now Emerson bringing the ball up to the centre circle, needs to get more involved, and he's been fouled by Di Matteo. Italy against Brazil there. Rose Bowl revisited in this FA Cup final today. Free kick to Middlesbrough in the centre circle.
Blatant obstruction by Di Matteo. It's accepted, of course, in parts of Europe, this cut across. The important thing from Burr's point of view too is to get Emerson into this game. Really is important. He can do it if he really puts his mind to it.
Juninho's lost possession, and Wise in a twinkle finds the man with the happy feet, Zola. Zola holds, lots of support, lots of options around him. Dan Petrescu now, first Romanian to play in a cup final. Back inside the centre circle, and Scotland's Steve Clark. And now Minto. Minto is still his future at Chelsea to be resolved. He's been fouled by Juninho, who will pick him up, and just inside the Chelsea half, it's going to be the Middlesbrough half. It's going to be a Chelsea free. Ruud Gullit now we see for the first time coming towards the pitch just making a few gestures, just trying to get a message across. I'll try and get Jimmy to maybe interpret that, or maybe Martin in a moment. Ruud Gullit, just for the first time, showing a little bit of agitation. The ball now is aimed towards Zola. It wasn't the greatest ball. Zola couldn't control it. And a spot of aerial tennis. And now Di Matteo, right-footed ball, plays the ball in, looking for Petrescu. Great covering by Fleming. Otherwise, Petrescu would have cut through, and then a complete mess by Fleming, having done brilliantly in the first place to get there. He's now taken his eye off the ball and conceded a corner kick to Chelsea. There are water bottles being thrown on, not surprisingly, on a very, very muggy, humid afternoon now at Wembley. Corner kick to Chelsea, leading 1-0 with around 8 minutes left in the first half. On this near side, Wise and Zola. Short corner, clipped in by Zola, too near Roberts. And Roberts can't throw it to anybody yet. He'll have to wait for everybody to get back into position.
Yes, he couldn't throw it to anybody because all 11 were back from the corner kick. It is warm. It is already starting to take its effect on the players. The game has slowed down in the last few minutes.
Hignett turns beautifully away from Newton, and then Stamp would have been offside, but he hasn't got the ball anyway. So it's amazing, isn't it? All the publicity this week, and so much of it surrounding Zola and Juninho and Ravanelli. But the first goal here, as the Chelsea supporters once more raise the roof away to the right, the first goal was scored by Roberto Di Matteo. Remember him scoring a great goal at Leicester in the FA Cup in the game which was eventually drawn. That's been one of Chelsea's problems this season, doing it over 90 minutes. Now, because they fell away in that game in the second half. Now, good play by Beck, and then the referee blows late and will produce a yellow card for the first time in this FA Cup final, I think, for the foul on Mikael Beck. Stephen Lodge is speaking to Eddie Newton, and Eddie Newton gets the first yellow card of the 97 Cup final. Free kick to Middlesbrough, a little bit too far out, I would have thought, for Juninho. It's all of 30 yards away from Grodas's goal. Grodas just organising his defenders, succeeding, of course, or hoping to succeed, Torsved, a Norwegian who won a cup medal with Spurs playing in goal. Now, Grodas seems to be happy. Middlesbrough have Blackmore, Juninho and Emerson around the ball. It's to the right as we look at it. Chelsea have set up a wall of 4. And Blackmore, of course, has got a great shot. It's Juninho who squirts it in straight onto Lebert's head. Controlled by Fester, high one from Fester. Never had it under his control, though. And it's gone wide. If I could just bring Martin again in here. It's impossible from here, I suppose. But, I mean, Ruud Gullit did come out and was showing just a little bit of frustration about something. Martin, what do you think his problem was?
Well, if he was concerned, and he hasn't shown it for all season, so I'm not so sure, but if it was concerned, I think it might be this, Mike. His team are in command of the game. He just doesn't want them to get sloppy because they have played very, very well so far. It looks as if the second goal might kill the game off, and I think that's what he wants. If they're not going to get it before half-time, to make absolutely certain that Middlesbrough don't come into the match.
Thank you, Martin O'Neill, who had gigantic cup ties against both of these clubs. Chelsea in the FA Cup, Middlesbrough obviously in the League Cup. We have 7 or 8 minutes left in the first half. In fact, I can't tell you exactly how long to go because the humidity has got inside my stopwatch, and we have 7 minutes to go. Now, Juninho, Petrescu, Leboeuf, all to the floor. Referee points away to the right. Free kick to Middlesbrough.
The referee should have cautioned Leboeuf there for throwing the ball away.
He didn't do, and the game proceeds, and Phil Stamp has knocked that one too short down the near side, and Blackmore won't get it. Kept in, though, by Pearson. Pearson will find Juninho. Juninho now, can he find some inspiration here for Middlesbrough? Not like that. That was an easy cut up by Clark. Di Matteo almost lost possession. Again, just a little casual from Chelsea. Zola not really in the game yet, the way that perhaps we might have expected, as the ball is played down the Middlesbrough left-hand side, and it's with Fleming. Fleming, short of the halfway line. Lays it on the out. Oh, dreadful. So another mistake by Fleming. Should have found Hignett. Rolls the ball towards the cameraman for a throw-in. Game's just slightly gone off the boil. Perhaps the temperature here is starting to affect the players as well. Actually, it's not so much the temperature, it's just the humidity. It's the humidity, isn't it? Because there's no sunshine down there now. It's just a very steamy afternoon, and I suppose there can't be thunderstorms too far away from London at the moment. The ball is back again with Grodas in that Chelsea goal, and that's a poor clearance from Grodas. And yeah, Ruud Gullit's down there again, and he's really staring towards Grodas. I mean, why did you do that? You had all the time in the world. You just knocked it straight back again to the red shirts to take a throw-in, and we need that ball.
It's one thing, though, to be stood at the side in a suit, and another thing to be playing in these conditions quite often, and Martin will tell you that. I think that the players are definitely, feeling the conditions in the last few minutes. It was quite a hectic start, and of course the goal, it got everybody going, and pulled the tension through to the players, nervous tension. It affects them physically as well. And I think Ruud Gullit is saying to his players to settle. settle down, try and get back into a little bit of a rhythm. They've lost it at the moment.
Well, it was a great rhythm from the start here, conducted by Di Matteo with a goal when he ran from the halfway line and scored from 25 yards over Roberts, in off the underside of the bar, and now Emerson for Middlesbrough, halfway inside his own half. He knocked it down the centre. There was no flag at all. The Chelsea defenders just for a moment stopped. Grodhouse is way out of his area, and that time I suppose he had a certain amount of excuse knocking that out of play, because Chelsea were all over the place, and it's going to be a throw to Middlesbrough.
I see this is a bit of a danger for Chelsea. They've caught Borough a few times on the offside. They're really square lying.
Now good running from Emerson, but he's running into a bit of a bottleneck, a blue bottleneck, and now Zola laying the ball off to Di Matteo. Di Matteo is carrying it inside the Middlesbrough half, eventually lays it left-hand side to number 25, Gianfranco Zola. He'll see Wise on his outside, making a little decoy run. The Middlesbrough defenders also seeing Wise. Zola still got the ball, though, and plays it in the end back to Minto, and then Minto... He was trying to sort of shovel that towards Wise, only found Stamp, and then in his agitation came back and fouled Stamp, and it's a free kick to Middlesbrough. We got off to a breathtaking start here, but the game has sagged a little over the last 10 minutes. The free kick to Middlesbrough taken by Pearson, and if you're just joining us on 5 Live, Middlesbrough completely disrupted, losing injured Ravanelli and Mustoe, and having to bring on Beck and Vickers. Beck working well for his side, but has to play it back inside his own half. Vickers, who came on for Mustoe. Fester's been pushed into midfield as the sun is now threatening to break through once more to light up Wembley. This truly international occasion, and inevitably the first goal scored by an overseas star, Roberto Di Matteo, one of the Italian players, of course, here to beat England in February, as Fester tried to press the ball off to Stamp near side, and Chelsea have the throw-in. Clark, left-footed. Too long for Zola, but Hughes will compete with Vickers, and on the ground, so much is forte. Hughes wins the ball, emerges with it, finds Wise. Wise twists away from Fester. He's caught. The referee gives a free kick, and the referee says to Fester, I think that was your last chance. Cut it out. Free kick to Chelsea. Knocked off to Wise. Dennis Wise for Chelsea. Newton says, I'll have that, on the edge of the centre circle. Newton forward to Hughes, very deep for him. Hughes will see an opening down that right-hand side and find Sinclair. Lovely control by Frank Sinclair on the edge of the area. Faced by Fleming, hasn't got the cross in yet. Doesn't get the cross in. Will have another go, but he couldn't get it back to Petrescu. Middlesbrough stand firm. Ball is back inside the Chelsea half. LeBeuf is there and headed sideways by Petrescu. Out of play for a Middlesbrough throw-in.
Yes, the game is virtually at walking pace. I think the conditions certainly had their effect on that. I think Chelsea have looked better coming down the right-hand side of the pitch. If it stays as it is, if I was Brian Robson at half-time, I'd switch the 2 full-backs over. That's one thing I would certainly do.
Long ball from Juninho to test Clark, but Clark volleys that away from the danger area, back up towards the halfway line. Petrescu's certainly been very involved in the first half, and now a good little stretch by Vickers for Middlesbrough to find Juninho just inside Chelsea territory. But as LeBeuf knocked that one back, all the Middlesbrough defenders are pushed up, and Hughes and Zola, well, Hughes certainly was offside, and it's a free kick to be taken by Middlesbrough. So maybe that's the end of Ravanelli in a red shirt for Middlesbrough. Not too many people expect him to stay, and he only lasted 21 minutes in this game as Clark controls the ball, perhaps the best of the Chelsea defenders so far. Clark, now Zola in the centre circle, has to stab it back to Newton. Quick play through midfield, and then a typical pace and a typical surge from Roberto Di Matteo. Di Matteo trying to find Hughes. In came a challenge from Emerson. Good battling by Middlesbrough, tidied up neatly by the defenders, and the crowd away to the left now suddenly responding as Middlesbrough, with a couple of minutes to go to half-time, have survived to a certain extent. They could so easily have capsized in this first half, having conceded that early goal. They almost conceded another one. Then they lost Ravanelli and Mustoe. Juninho is darting down this right-hand side and winning a throw-in off Eddie Newton, the one player so far in the final to be shown a yellow card.
Yes, what Middlesbrough have got to find is a bit of mobility up front. What's happening? They've got one striker, an out-and-out striker, whether it was Ravanelli or Beck as it is now. There's got to be some mobility. He can't just stand there and expect the ball to come to him. There's got to be some mobility across the front line.
Emerson, centre circle to Juninho. Brazilians being watched by Pele here today. Juninho again going for a return pass from Fester. Tackled by Di Matteo. Hughes, beautiful ball. Just time for Chelsea perhaps right on half-time to go 2-0 in front. Petrescu taking the ball deep inside Middlesbrough territory. Vickers is holding him on the edge of the area. Plays the ball back into the deep to Zola. Zola conserving his energy, and then LeBeuf comes on to run for Chelsea, and he's fouled from behind by Hignett. He seemed to have lost the ball, did Frank LeBeuf, but the foul given and a free kick to Chelsea, and this one's 25 yards away from Roberts' goal, and it's possibly on for Zola. Roberts' turn now to line up his defenders.
I think he dived. I think he's got away with that, LeBeuf. We haven't got the the chance of seeing the replay just yet, but that looked like a bit of a dive to me. But anyway, it's in a very important position as far as Chelsea are concerned.
And the footballer of the year, Gianfranco Zola, is eyeing this one up. Maybe going to curl this with his right foot. Here he comes. Zola curled. Brilliant save by Roberts. Dives across to the left. Palms it round the post. Corner kick to Chelsea. Breathtaking action.
Yes, Zola only had one thing in mind there. To be honest, in this first half, we haven't seen too much of him. He's been rather quiet, just propping up here and there with little touches. But every so often, of course, he can produce a gem. Little free kick there. Not much power in it. Roberts just got it away.
Chelsea 1-0 against Middlesbrough. Corner kick is taken and a good catch by Roberts, Ben Roberts, in that Middlesbrough goal. Chelsea leading with a goal inside the first minute, struck from 25 yards by Italy's Roberto Di Matteo. And the Chelsea supporters now urging Steve Lodge to blow for half-time. A long one for Middlesbrough, looking for Beck. It's bouncing awkwardly on the edge of the area, and Sinclair hasn't really cleared it. In goes Juninho, looking to try and win a corner, and there's going to be time for a Middlesbrough corner. Chelsea dispute the decision, but it's a Middlesbrough corner right on half-time when they can get the ball. And Juninho's already in position, right-hand side, and Vickers, of course, who's come on here, is sometimes very dangerous from set pieces. He'll go in with Pearson and Festa. 1-0 to Chelsea, right on half-time. In goes the corner from Juninho. Everybody's missed it. Festa can't get his shot in. The ball is cleared by Chelsea, only as far as Stamp. Stamp lays it in. Festa's offside. The ball's in the back of the net off Festa's head, but the flag went up straight away as soon as the cross came in, and it won't count. It's still 1-0.
But signs for Middlesbrough, and that...
Throw in to the near side, taken by Fleming. To Michael Beck, the first of the two Middlesbrough substitutes. Back to Fleming. Hignett is close by. Emerson ahead of the centre circle, but it goes beyond and above the Brazilian to the far side. And Blackmore to Juninho, who spins on the edge of the penalty area, but in goes another defender, Minto, and it's cleared by Chelsea. Middlesbrough on the attack again, though. Fleming comes forward, running towards the penalty area. There's the Frenchman, Leboeuf, and it's cleared almost into the path of Emerson. He doesn't control it, and it's squirts behind for a goal kick. Jimmy.
It's important for Middlesbrough to start brightly, and they have done so. 2 challenges in midfield, they've won them both. A couple of knockouts, they've won them both. I think Brian Robson sensed, perhaps as I did at the end of the first half, that they'd really starting to move a little bit, and that Chelsea were a little bit vulnerable when pushed back.
Can't remember a salty threat, though, from Middlesbrough in an attacking sense in the first half. We did have that header into the net by Festa, but he was clearly offside.
Yes, no real threat on the goal so far. Not what I'd call anything really substantial. There's one moment when Stamp got in on the right-hand side, and he could have whipped the ball across, which he didn't.
Zola, who's been fairly quiet in the first half, comes away. Emerson tries to pull him off the ball, but it's back with Petrescu, and now Sinclair. Infield to Newton, forward to Petrescu again. Hughes wants it to his feet. It's into the penalty area. The Welshman's offside. Pulled away from the defender, but lost sight of the line, and it's a free kick to Middlesbrough.
Petrescu's coming forward on the right-hand side. That's why I thought Brian Robson particularly might have switched his full backs. But
did you understand that in the first place, Jimmy? The switch of Blackmore and Fleming?
No, he must have had something in his mind. I don't know exactly what it was. Perhaps he thought that there'd be perhaps a little more threat using Blackmore's experience down the left, where perhaps Zola and Wise might appear. But it doesn't happen.
Back infield to Juninho, but Juninho doesn't get there before Leboeuf, and Leboeuf whacks it upfield, up over the halfway line. Zola quickly gives up on the chase. He knows the strength of the pass was too great for him. And it's with Pearson, the Middlesbrough captain. And he drives the ball deep towards the near side, kept in play by the head of Curtis Fleming, but the header doesn't find Hignett before it's cleared by Chelsea to the halfway line. Here's Petrescu, leaving it for Leboeuf. Hit quickly forward, didn't reach Zola. Cleared back, but only to Clark, and Clark hits it high into the Middlesbrough half, and it's an untidy start to the second half. Here's Festa, started at centre-back, now in midfield, and a firm back pass from the Italian back to Ben Roberts. I feel really sorry for Ben Roberts. Here he is, 21 years of age, starting in an FA Cup final, Jim, and, within the first minute, this glorious shot dips over his hands and off the crossbar.
He's a very improved keeper, though. He's got that behind him.
Pearson drives the ball forward down the right side. Good early cross by Stamp. Beck slipped inside the penalty area, and Sinclair didn't hit the clearance properly. Hits it straight out of play on the near side for a Middlesbrough throw-in. And the Middlesbrough fans, who are away to our left, I think they occupy about 40% of this stadium. 76,000 capacity crowd at Wembley. Well, perhaps they sent just a glimmer of hope from Middlesbrough. A goal down here at Wembley Stadium. Emerson from the throw-in, back to the second Middlesbrough substitute. Vickers, head upfield, Fleming's going to be offside.
Beck as well was offside. That tactic to me is a risk factor. Chelsea every so often just keep pushing up. Brian Robson, I think, has seen it. That ball went a little early that time. Fleming just was a bit too eager to get forward.
Free kick to Chelsea. Down the near side, the right. They're defending the tunnel end in the second half. It's played by Sinclair. Hughes doesn't get there, it's headed away. Here's Emerson, still short of the halfway line. Quickly challenged by Newton and by Petrescu, who evades them both, the Brazilian. And he really needs to knuckle down in these remaining 41 minutes, Emerson. It's been such a disappointing season from a player of such talent. It's played down the Middlesbrough right now. Stamp has done well. Into Beck. Beck's attempted return pass didn't find Stamp, and it's cleared by Chelsea. But certainly Middlesbrough looked quicker to the ball in the second half. But now Chelsea on the attack. Zola, one Italian to another, the goal scorer Di Matteo. 25 yards out, approaching the D. Back to Zola. Zola on his right foot. Tries to curl the shot around the defender Pearson, but hits Pearson, and it rebounds to the near side. And Fleming forward to Hignett. Still edge of the Middlesbrough penalty area. And now carefully guided to the far side. And Blackmore. Back to Hignett. Fleming's unmarked down the left. Well spotted by Hignett. Sinclair goes across, heads it down and carefully away to Petrescu. Away from Emerson. Emerson fouled him. But Petrescu kept his footing. Has the ball. Plays it back to Newton. Good applause. Whoa. Oh, well, Newton must have mishit that because he hit it straight out of play.
Yes, I think Chelsea were unlucky there not to get a free kick. Emerson clearly pulled Petrescu back. Initially, though, the ball was given away by Borough. There's two long balls they've tried from right to left. Neither have been successful.
50 minutes gone in the 116th FA Cup Final. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. The goal a long time ago. Roberto Di Matteo from between 25 and 30 yards, and officially timed at 42 seconds, the quickest goal in FA Cup Final history. Here's Pearson, the Middlesbrough skipper, lifting it high, dropping towards the edge of the penalty area, and Beck was fouling Clark, spotted by the linesman, and a free kick is awarded to Chelsea.
No doubt about that. Free kick, Beck rather clumsy really, going for the ball there with Clark. If Beck can really find something here, I think Borough can get in. I think a lot depends on him. He's got to show some mobility. From Chelsea's point of view, this second half, they've just been pushed back again a little bit. No real continuity in their play as we saw in that first 20 minutes.
3 times before, Manchester City in 1926, Leicester in 69, and Brighton just 14 years ago. They all reached the cup final and they were all relegated. It's the same fate that awaits Middlesbrough Football Club unless they can find something in the remaining 38 minutes of the game. Chelsea lead 1-0. Chelsea have a throw-in. Midway inside Middlesbrough territory, near side of the field. That's the Chelsea right. The end occupied mainly by their fans. Petrescu, who's had a very good game for Chelsea, right at midfield. He'll take the throw-in. Little Zola comes close, but behind him is Sinclair. And it's back to the right fullback, Sinclair. Now Zola. Zola turns. Wise with a run into the penalty area. Zola tries to pick him out. Slightly overhits the cross, and it's through to Roberts.
Emerson just left Zola there. I watched what was happening. The ball was played back to Sinclair. Lovely little ball inside to Zola. And Emerson, who was initially with Zola, just left him. And Zola was allowed to pick the ball up. You can't allow this little fella that much space.
7 minutes played since half-time. Vickers for Middlesbrough. To Festa. Still inside his own half. Blackmore's available on the far side, and Festa picks him out. Di Matteo runs across just to hustle him, but Blackmore finds Stamp. Stamp seemed to be fouled there. Yes, he was, and it's a free kick for that challenge by Minto.
No, if I'd have been Middlesbrough, I would have waited and taken a free kick there and hung it up.
The free kick taken short to Janino. Janino tried to find Hignett, intercepted by Chelsea and cleared by Chelsea. Wise, the skipper, approaching the halfway line, right of the centre circle, to Petrescu. Sinclair behind him. Back it goes to Frank Sinclair, and back it goes all the way to the goalkeeper, Grodas, who whacks it upfield. And the flag is raised for offside against Mark Hughes. I didn't see that.
Offside, though.
Well, I know it's given, Jim. What I'm saying is I didn't see it.
Right, I did. The point is that the foul was playing about the free kick, Alan. If I'd have been Borough, there it was about, 40 yards from goal. After what happened to Festa's header early on, the first free kick they would have got, I would have waited.
Pearson free kick, hit long, stamped after it into the penalty area, and LeBeuf across is at a corner. Referee doesn't know. What's the linesman giving? I don't think either of them knew, and as a result, they give a goal kick.
Well, the referee looked across to the linesman, who didn't give the signal for a corner kick, so he's given the goal kick. But can I go back to this point, Alan? If they'd have hung the ball up, it would have given Pearson time to get up, and I would have tested Chelsea's defence with the first one. Really would. Anyway, we shall see.
It was a corner, by the way. But you're going to disagree with me again?
No, I'm
No.
not.
It's only once in a game we can disagree.
Twice in a season.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely so. 8 minutes played since half-time. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. Ball's out of play on the far side. That's the Chelsea left. And nobody's in a hurry to get the ball. Come on, folks. I know it's tiring out there. But Middlesbrough certainly want the ball in play again quickly. Minto to take the throw-in. It's 10 yards short of the halfway line and thrown down that left flank towards Hughes. Blackmore a little careless, allowing the ball to get to Mark Hughes. Petrescu with the run in the penalty area. Back it goes to Di Matteo. Similar position from which he scored. Forward to Zola. Fleming's holding it back. Zola's there. The goalkeeper committed, and it's cleared behind by Vickers for the corner.
The Italian influence there in Chelsea. Lovely ball from Di Matteo inside of Fleming. Zola got into it. He actually got the ball past Roberts. Fleming got it behind for a corner. That was a lovely little interception in the end.
Corner taken short. Back by White to Zola. Zola's cross headed away by Fleming. Only Juninho's there. Newton's with him. Juninho evades him. Juninho comes forward. All along the Brazilian. Into the Chelsea half. Running into the fence. Through to the edge of the penalty area. Brought down by Di Matteo. And it's going to be a free kick to Middlesbrough right on the edge of the D, and a booking for the Italian goal scorer.
Well, I think he was through on goal. I think he could have got a shot in. He tried to pull him back earlier on, and he's tripped him on the edge of the D. Now, I think he was in a goal-threatening position there. I really do, because what was happening is the defender, the other defender, whoever it was actually backing off. Now, he's given the free kick right on the edge of the D. Now, in my opinion, that is a goal-threatening position.
There was another defender there, Jimmy.
There was another defender, and that's what gave him the yellow card.
So it's only a booking, not a red card. Only Kevin Moore has been sent up off at an FA Cup final at Wembley. That was 12 years ago. The danger here for Chelsea, the free kick, is a foot from the D of the Chelsea penalty area. Emerson is there. So too is Juninho. Grotus waits. Chelsea a goal up. Emerson complains about the wall. Pearson's in there trying to cause trouble. Blackmore hangs back, slightly to the right. Juninho steps back, couple of yards. Surely it must be the Brazilian. With his right foot, dinks it straight into the wall. Rebound to Blackmore. He tries to shoot as well. It was another weak effort, and it's cleared out of play for a throw-in.
Yeah, Chelsea wall stood firm. Middlesbrough fans are booing. They're expecting Di Matteo to have gone off there.
There's the cross from the throw-in into the penalty area, headed down by Leboeuf. Collected now by Festa, chipped into the D, headed clear this time by Newton, and Chelsea on the counter-attack now. Petrescu to Hughes, Hughes evades Fleming, plays it away to the far side, and Di Matteo. Now Dennis Wise, 15 yards inside Middlesbrough territory. Glorious ball by Wise. Petrescu into the penalty area, shoots in the volley, almost rebounds off a defender to Hughes, and it's cleared by Blackmore.
Just Fleming as well, just got a toe poke onto that, and it was enough. Could have been a real threat from Chelsea. Oh, Beck's just got offside at the other end. Middlesbrough broke very quickly, and the ball was played, and Beck was just offside. Once again, Chelsea caught square. So far, the luck's holding for them.
56 minutes playing. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. Who are the Chelsea substitutes? Andy Mars, Kevin Hitchcock, and somebody called Jean-Luc Vialli. You think you'd get his 5 minutes, Jim?
I do.
Chelsea ahead. The ball's played from a Chelsea free kick taken by Sinclair to Hughes. Great control by the Welshman. Near side of Fleming. That has to be a foul, surely. And Hughes dives in, and I don't blame him. That looked like a free kick. It wasn't awarded. The linesman's a yard or two away. Yeah. Ridiculous. Back it goes to the halfway line to Leboeuf. Leboeuf sweeps it immediately to the far side. Taken on the chest by Minto. Forward to Wise. Chelsea started the second half awkwardly. Now seem to be in control again. Wise's cross into the penalty area, far too far ahead of Zola, and through to the goalkeeper Roberts, who puts his team under pressure with a rash throw. Straight to Wise. Di Matteo to Zola. Zola moves away from Pearson. Into the penalty area it goes. Minto's cross is low. Won't reach a blue shirt, but Vickers doesn't know what to do with it and hits it behind for a corner.
He's done the right thing. He did the right thing. It was lovely play by Zola. He's starting to creep into the game now. I thought he was very quiet in the first half. Nice little ball through, and in the end, Middlesbrough scramble it away for a corner.
To be taken by Zola, and they played these corners exactly the same way. Short to Wise, back to Zola. Zola plays it in left footed to the far post towards Clark. He was pushing, and it's a free kick to Middlesbrough. I mean, when you play every corner kick exactly the same way,
defenders eventually get used to it.
Surely they get used to it. Surely you notice it.
I think what he's trying to do, I've been trying to weigh up, I think what he's trying to do is draw two Middlesbrough players out. That's what they're doing as much as anything. Two players around the corner flag, so two Middlesbrough players, of course, have got to come out of the goal mouth, and that's what they're hoping for.
While it remains 1-0, Middlesbrough have hope. 58 minutes gone. Emerson plays it forward, offside again. It invites danger, I suppose, if you persist with the offside tactic, except that on every occasion it's worked for Chelsea.
It has. It's because, well, to be honest, the timing of the runs has not been particularly good. You've just got to wait your time, and then when the opportunity comes, then you go.
Blue, the dominant colour at Wembley, and blue dominates the game. 1-0 to Chelsea. Lebeuf's free kick, slapped away to the far side. Little Wise jumps, heads it onto the edge of the penalty area, and Pearson hooks the clearance up into Chelsea territory momentarily, because Clark heads it back, and it bounces over Festa and through to Pearson, about 6 yards ahead of his penalty area. Awkward ball to the near side. Fleming couldn't control it. Petrescu's in there. And now Zola. Hughes makes the run in the penalty area. Vital header away by Pearson. Zola heads it down again. Petrescu, 2 yards outside the penalty area. Finds Sinclair. Up from right back. Right in the penalty area. Into the box. Zola's there. Jinking one way. Now facing the defender, Zola. Can't squeeze the cross in, surely. Petrescu's behind him. Played to the Romanian. There's the cross now, and immediately the flag's up for offside.
Spate of pressure there by Chelsea. All came about bad ball by Pearson, really. He's knocked the ball again from right to left. When I say a bad ball, it really put Fleming under pressure, who was on the touchline. He tried to keep the ball in, and all he did was head the ball forward, and Chelsea picked up their move from there. They've tried this crossfield ball a few times now. So far, it's not been very successful, Middlesbrough.
Two-thirds of the way through the 116th FA Cup Final. This is coverage of BBC 5 Live, wherever in the world you may be listening. We're bringing it to you, and it's Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. Di Matteo's goal in the first minute of the game, the quickest goal in an FA Cup Final at Wembley. Hignett forward, but Beck is again offside.
All he had to do there was wait. Middlesbrough broke down the left-hand side. Beck was there by the side of Newton and Lebeuf, and what he did, he just set off running. He's got to wait his opportunity.
The only one I can see springing that little trap is the little man, Janino. He has the right sense of timing. Lebeuf's free kick. Hughes after it. Edge of the penalty. Right foot volley. Off target. They let it go. They let him go.
Oh, he let it go. I've seen him bang him in from there as well, but he let that one go. He went for glory, really. And to be fair, there weren't many options. The ball was played over the top from the right side, and he hit it on the volley on the turn. There was only Zola who was anywhere near the Middlesbrough penalty area.
The thing is, Jim, you know, they do play some lovely football, Chelsea, but they're not afraid to play the right long ball. That was another long ball that almost caught Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough on the attack now, and then it's headed away by Sinclair. Emerson quiet once more, heads it towards Fleming. Not before it's cleared by Petrescu. That used to the hand by Vickers? No. Referee watches and says no. Now Emerson. That's a good ball. Oh, I thought from this angle it looked a good ball down the left side, but the reason it didn't matter was that Janino looked up and spotted the flag raised inevitably for offside.
That right arm of that linesman on that far side is going to get tired soon.
Yes, sore, muscle strain. 62 minutes gone. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. Chelsea free kick. And those Middlesbrough fans must think, well, what else can go wrong for us? What else can go possibly wrong? Chelsea hit it long, forward, headed away from Hughes this time. But only to Newton. Newton finds Wise, back to Minto just over the halfway line. Minto needs no encouragement to attack. Runs forward, finds Zola with a short pass. Zola holds off Festa. Free kick award. Oh! Festa's booked. And he had been warned earlier in the game, Jimmy, that for the referee that he'd had enough of that.
Yeah. And
Festa was pulling...
and he's actually going to get a ticking off as well. He's going to get a yellow card. He's going to have to watch himself. Otherwise, he's going to be down the tunnel for the first use of the soap. Anyway, he's got a yellow card, but what he was quite clearly...
They only one bar, Jim. Surely they've got more than one bar.
Well, I mean, I'll use the term soap as a generality.
Free kick, a long way out. Not shooting range, not even for Lebeuf. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0, 63 minutes played. Lebeuf looking for Zola, didn't find it, only found the header of a defender, and it's cleared, and Chelsea played the ball back. Sinclair to Grudis. The stewards are out early, aren't they? You just fancy getting a little suntan over there. It's hit upfield by Chelsea. Blackmore pulls it away, his old Manchester United colleague Hughes. And Blackmore slides the ball forward to the right flank and Stamp. Beck with a good run down the right. The pass slightly overhit. Clark across quickly, and his clearance out of play for a throw into Middlesbrough.
Now I think Beck there, he moved out to the right-hand side. I think that's what he's got to do, because he's not a good target player. He isn't one of these who's got a subtle touch, first touch on the ball. He's got to move himself down the flanks and try and make room for other players to come up the centre, like Festa now and Juninho. I think that's what he's got to do.
Blackmore's throw into the penalty. Mistake by the penalty, but it's almost in! Festa was diving in the challenge. Mistake by LeBeuf. It's behind, and it's only a goal kick.
Just couldn't quite get enough on it. They look a bit edgy to me at the back, Chelsea. I must be honest. I think LeBeuf under pressure, would really feel it. That's my opinion. But anyway, the ball was knocked in. LeBeuf missed out. Festa went in. He's got a knock for his trouble as well. He's just been booked a minute ago. He's had a kick on his ankle, but he couldn't get enough on that, and the ball's gone past the post.
64 minutes gone. It remains Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0, as it has for 63 of those 64 minutes. 42 seconds, and Roberto Di Matteo had scored for Chelsea, and it was a stunning effort. Free kick to Chelsea inside the centre circle. LeBeuf to take it. Zola and Hughes are upfield. Oh, precise free kick. Straight to Zola. Instant control. Wide to the far side it goes in wide. Mendes on the overlap. Played forward. He's onside. Left to the penalty area. Has to beat two defenders. Crosses with the wrong foot. Right-footed. And it's overhit and headed away by Fleming and stabbed further clear by Hignett. Juninho very quiet over the last few minutes. Forward it goes. Fleming kept running but didn't see the ball in play. And it's a throw in. And Middlesbrough are very, very frustrated, and there are only 25 minutes to go.
Looking down my sheet here, really, they've not really threatened Grodash too much at all, have they? That's the most worrying aspect of all. And to be frank, in these last period, really, there's not been too much from Chelsea either. Games, it's a very critical point now, as I see it.
Well, the last two FA Cup finals have been settled by a 1-0 scoreline. Everton beating Manchester United in 95, Manchester United beating Liverpool last season. Juninho forward towards Beck, and LeBeuf was there, and he diverted the ball clear. But it's collected now by Hignett. Festa ahead of him down the left touchline. Hignett moves in field, looks for Beck. Beck collects, edge of the penalty area, pulls the ball up when he might have played it through to Festa. Beck still has possession. Chelsea with a lot of players behind the ball. And now here's Emerson, squeezing his way between two blue shirts, but not between the other two, and is cleared by Sinclair. Whacked upfield, dropping awkwardly, but Vickers with a good header back to his goalkeeper.
Played well, Vickers, since he came on. I think he's been really reliable. He's had 2 or 3 good tackles. That was a very awkward ball, long ball, knocked into the sun, and he headed it back superbly to his goalkeeper.
LeBeuf to Newton, and now Di Matteo over the halfway line. Hughes, Di Matteo, Zola waits to spring forward. There it goes. Zola collects, couple of yards from the edge of the D. Hughes and Di Matteo in the penalty area. Zola goes through in his own, then he's tackled in the end, squirts away to safety momentarily. Collected by Wise on the far side of the field. 66 minutes played. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. And now Newton, looking for Sinclair. Near side, Chelsea right. Petrescu's ahead of him. Sinclair looks in field to Zola. Zola looks a little tired now. He's tackled and loses the ball to another Italian, Festa. And now Hignett, near side. It's still 1-0 to Chelsea. Can Middlesbrough get back into the game, back into the cup final? Still Europe available, remember, for the winners. Here's Juninho. His header won't find Hignett. It finds only Sinclair. Petrescu, Di Matteo, forward to Petrescu again. Hughes waits. There's the run into the edge of the penalty area. Great tackle by Pearson. Had to make the interception, and he saves Middlesbrough skin just for the moment. Di Matteo comes forward again, runs to the penalty. Hughes is there, appeals for a handball. It hit the face of Vickers, and it should be cleared. It is cleared, and we're past the midway point. It's about time Mike Ingham took over.
And I wonder how much Middlesbrough will have to give in this game, bearing in mind what they've been doing over the last couple of weeks. But here comes Emerson now with a good run into the area. Fantastic challenge by Clark, only as far as Juninho. Hit that with too much pace down the right-hand side, though. Across will come Minto against Stamp, and Stamp has been penalised. And it's going to be a free kick to Chelsea. 23 minutes gone in the second half. Still not too much thrust from Middlesbrough. Martin O'Neill, who won the League Cup with Leicester against Middlesbrough, is with us. Can you see Middlesbrough coming back, Martin? No, you can't, because you haven't got your headphones on, mister.
I
Hello, Mike.
What do you think? 22 minutes to go. Any way back for Middlesbrough?
Oh, I think there is. While it's only at 1-0, there's always got a chance. And we've just been saying here in the other commentary box, first pass Juninho's made almost inside the penalty box all season. Perhaps he should have gone on. But there's signs that Middlesbrough are going for it.
Now Beck has the ball. He has to bring it out of the area, though, because Leboeuf was tight to him. Challenge came in from Leboeuf, but straight back to Middlesbrough it goes. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. The goal after 42 seconds from Di Matteo. And now a clearance by Leboeuf. He's gone down injured as Di Matteo goes flying past Vickers. Cross comes Emerson down the near side, but Di Matteo's too strong for Emerson as well. In the area, waiting, Zola and Hughes. Hughes with a bicycle kick. And it's just wide, and it's saved by Roberts. And Leboeuf now might need attention. I don't think Middlesbrough are aware of Leboeuf's problem. The crowd here is 79,160. Juninho and Leboeuf were arguing while all that was happening. And Middlesbrough now bring the ball out. Jimmy Arthur.
Yeah, it was a free kick for offside anyway when it got to the other end. Leboeuf's just got a bit of a knock. I think he's okay. It could have been very dangerous there. I think Chelsea, when they do get the play together, they carry a far greater threat with Di Matteo and Zola coming from midfield.
Well, the game has just woken up again, but it certainly hasn't been the classic yet that everybody was hoping for. So many international stars on the field. We got the early goal, which often opens cup finals up. But Middlesbrough haven't really been able to penetrate yet, but still time for them. 20 minutes to go. Chelsea leading by that Di Matteo goal after 42 seconds. The ball is wide on the Middlesbrough right far side. And Musto, by the way, and Ravanelli both having to come out of the game in the first half with injuries, replaced by Vickers and Beck. Now Hughes holds the ball on the halfway line, gives it away. That's not like Mark Hughes. Middlesbrough tackling well in midfield. And now down this near side is Fleming. Curtis Fleming for Middlesbrough. Infield it goes to Juninho. Leboeuf goes flying in. Juninho gets around the challenge and he's pushed over on the edge of the area, was he? No, referee perhaps played advantage. Middlesbrough now with Emerson, can't go forward. Desperate defending by Chelsea. Looked like that was a foul by Sinclair. I got a feeling the referee wasn't going to give it. It was almost a coincidence that Middlesbrough still had the ball. Now Zola checks. Hughes on the outside. 3 red shirts around him. Zola goes past 2 challenges. Angle awkward on the right. Hughes makes a run to the near post. Still Zola. Shot comes in. Saved by the goalkeeper and cleared in the end by Stamp. Still in play down the near side. Suddenly the cup final is alive again. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. Di Matteo the goal scorer, near side into Zola. Zola's return aimed towards Di Matteo. Challenge came in from Emerson. Middlesbrough clear. Juninho takes the ball up the halfway line. Only Beck downfield. That's the story, really. Instead he finds Hignett. Whistle's gone for Leboeuf's challenge, and that's a follow-on, I think. Leboeuf and Juninho. Leboeuf's going to get a yellow card. The game will have to stop, even though Middlesbrough had the possession. And Leboeuf becomes the 3rd Chelsea player to be booked.
Well, just a moment ago, we had the best moment of the match for me in terms, those who were desperate for Middlesbrough and Chelsea to win, and I think it was lovely play by Zola. Stepped inside 3 or 4 passes.
Free kick taken by Middlesbrough, and Chelsea managed to get in the way and clear. Sinclair, that long one from Newton, that's straight back to Middlesbrough. That will not please Ruud Gullit, sitting alongside Graham Ricks down there on the Chelsea bench to our right. Middlesbrough sitting to the left, next to Brian Robson, those 2 players who had to come off, Musto and Ravanelli. Behind him is Gordon McQueen, of course, the man who has played in this occasion with Manchester United. Ball is out of play near side, and it's going to be a free kick to Chelsea.
Well, there's a chance there, Mike. Ball was not long from the back, over the top of Chelsea. Fleming went just a little bit too early. Just prior to that, Mike, I was saying, I thought it was a lovely moment from Zola. He went past 2 or 3 challenges. In the end, he had a shot. Roberts did well to hold it. He did have an alternative, but it was a lovely bit of play.
Still, whenever there's a chance, the players are throwing water over themselves. As Hughes now battling with Vickers. Out comes Roberts, gets both hands to the ball. Ball comes to the near side. That will be a Chelsea throw-in. But Chelsea deserve to be in front still. They're still created more than Middlesbrough have in the game. And Petrescu just conserving his energy, moving across to the right to take this Chelsea throw. Referee clearly stopping his watch. All the Chelsea fans, well, most of them behind the goal, being defended by Middlesbrough. That was a poor challenge by Fleming. Takes Petrescu off the floor. Free kick to Chelsea. A couple of yards in from the near touchline. Zola will curl this in with his right foot. Sinclair has gone into the area. Little Frank Sinclair, who might be little but gets up well for free kicks and corners. Steve Clark is going forward as well. A goal now for Chelsea, and surely that'll be the FA Cup. In it goes from Zola. Roberts doesn't come for it. Defending well was Vickers. And the corner kick will be given far side, left-hand side for Chelsea.
Sinclair was in there for Chelsea. It was a lovely ball knocked in by Zola from the right. A very important header by Vickers because Sinclair was coming in behind him, right in the centre of the goal.
Standing ovation for Dennis Wise from the Chelsea fans over on the left-hand side. Is he going to be the man to lift up the FA Cup this year? 16 minutes to go in the Cup Final. Chelsea still leading by Di Matteo's goal in the first minute of the match. Another short corner. In it comes from Zola. Away by Vickers for Middlesbrough. Edge of the area. Taken by Petrescu. That's going to go high and wide. Roberts eventually lets that fall to safety. And a Middlesbrough goal kick. And now Middlesbrough's third and final change is going to be made. Number 7, Kinder, who was sent off in the semi-final against Chesterfield, comes on for Craig Hignett.
Now then, I think what happened here, Kinder, left-sided player. I've seen him play left full-back more often than not. But he's got a bit of pace. I think Brian Robson's gone for a bit of zip now into his play. He'll come from left midfield, I think, going forward. We shall see. That's the role his position he's taken up anyway, Mike.
He immediately settles in front of us on the Middlesbrough left-hand side. The Chelsea supporters still in good voice. The ball is with Middlesbrough, right-hand side. Now Beck holds it, but then Di Matteo's there immediately to take it away from him. And Chelsea find Wise down the left-hand side. Wise, for the most part, has been operating down the left today. Good running by Wise. Across comes a challenge from Emerson, immediately picking him up and then holding on to him as well.
Making sure he didn't think it quickly, yeah. Blatant trip.
Yeah.
I mean, so that is a yellow card offence, isn't it? At any time of the year, that's a yellow. Blatant trip. Stop Dennis Wise going forward.
If Emerson gets a yellow card, it might not mean too much. He may not be in English football next season. Emerson now for Middlesbrough, and that's played forward by Fester. It was missed by Sinclair, but Kinder can't take advantage down the Middlesbrough left-hand side. Out of play for a Chelsea throw. A few times, Jim, that Middlesbrough have put pressure on Chelsea in the second half. They haven't looked that convincing at the back, have they?
No, they haven't. At the back, I would say that. I think it's absolutely true. They never look really confident at the back, but to be fair, I don't think Middlesbrough have given them that many worries. Now then, Kinder down this left-hand side has got a bit of zip.
Well, we've entered the last 15 minutes of a cup final which hasn't quite lived up to expectations. The ball is played forward, looking for Fester. LeBeuf is looking for his goalkeeper. Brodas is there, 15 yards out, making the save for Chelsea. Chelsea, who haven't made any substitutions at all in the game. They've got Gianluca Vialli and Andy Mars as their outfield players, and Kevin Hitchcock, the deputy for Grodas. Long ball downfield into the Middlesbrough half. Pearson and Hughes both miss it, and it falls through once more to Roberts, who immediately feeds Blackmore down the Middlesbrough right. Again, the players strolling now in this muggy afternoon. Juninho, that's a lovely touch. The ball is asking an awful lot of stamp down the Middlesbrough right. Minto not taking any chances at all, just hoist that into the crowd over on that left-hand side. That's the Chelsea left, the Middlesbrough right, and a throw to Middlesbrough. Stamp holds the ball. Only Beck and Kinder in the area. Middlesbrough needing to open up Chelsea here very quickly. Juninho juggles and holds. Blackmore takes over. Blackmore square ball easily cut out by Di Matteo. Pearson against Hughes again. Tackles go flying in inside the Chelsea half. Steve Lodge has a good look at it and then decides a foul on Pearson and a free kick to Middlesbrough. 15 yards inside the Chelsea half to the right as we look at it, and they should really now commit a few more players downfield. Surely one of the centre-backs will go forward. Indeed, here he comes, Steve Vickers. Vickers for Middlesbrough, who have to find a goal very soon. 12 minutes left. 1-0 to Chelsea. Free kick is taken by Blackmore. Away by Chelsea's Sinclair. Fester decides to let that go out for a throw-in to Middlesbrough, left-hand side. Middlesbrough could do so much with the power of Ravanelli in the area, but he only lasted 21 minutes. Throw-in taken. Kinder, the new player. Kinder on the edge of the area. Lays it back to Fester. Fester goes in with Petrescu. Clearance by Sinclair. It was a good long one. Forces Fleming back inside the Middlesbrough half to retrieve. And then he picks out Emerson in midfield. Emerson put on the ball. Gets it away from Hughes. Emerson now down the left-hand side for his fellow countryman Juninho. In the area, Beck and Fester as well. Good challenge by Sinclair. Throw into Middlesbrough, ever nearer the corner flag. Lots of players waiting for this one. In the area, Juninho again, taking it in towards the Chelsea defenders. lays it back to Fleming on the edge of the area. Juninho once more. In it goes, too near the goalkeeper, and Steve Clark stands away from Grodas so that he can pick that one up cleanly.
I don't know what Juninho was actually trying there. I don't know if there's a bit of fatigue crept into his play or what, but he tried to chip it near post, I think, and just couldn't get enough on it, and Grodas has just come and picked it up. I think what Borough have got to do now, they've got to try and get Kinder down this left-hand side. I think that could be an important thing. Emerson now, if I was Brian Robson, I'd push him a little bit farther forward now.
Pearson and Hughes have had a mighty scrap. Middlesbrough got a free kick and they've taken it. And again, they look to some invention from Juninho. Chelsea should clear that, but it breaks again to Juninho. Here comes the pace from Juninho, takes him past Di Matteo. Still Juninho, threatening to run into trouble here, eventually goes down under the challenge, and referee Steve Lodge gives Middlesbrough the free kick. 30 yards away from Grodas's goal, almost the centre of the field as we look at it. Again, Vickers goes forward, quickly taken free kick. Vickers is there, left-footed, great save by Grodas with his feet. Vickers saw glory then, tunnel end at Wembley, struck it not too convincingly with his left, but it was a good save by Grodas, who narrowed the angle. Middlesbrough again now, Juninho can't get the ball in, and Chelsea ought to clear this down the right-hand side. They hit it long. Hughes said you could have given that to me, to Eddie Newton. Instead, he's put it out of play.
Well, that's first real threat to Chelsea's goal, in my opinion. The one that really could easily have put Middlesbrough level. Quick free kick taken by Juninho. Chelsea's defence were caught. Vickers got through on the left-hand side, but fortunately for Chelsea, Grodas came out and he blocked it. Vickers hit the ball quite well. It was going to the target. Grodas made the save when he had to do.
Could be a save that might be worth an FA Cup. That Grodas has had his critics, but when he was required, he stood up firmly for his team in that Chelsea goal. Now Fleming, ball down the left-hand side. It's offside against Middlesbrough, though. Kinder's not happy. The Berth wants the ball. Steve Lodge has given the free kick. Juninho is pleading with Steve Lodge. I think he's having a go about some time wasting there from Chelsea. And the free kick now, as they're starting to look at their watches already on the Middlesbrough bench, as we get a television shot of Brian Robson. Free kick downfield. Hughes will try and hold it, but holding him was Vickers. Clearance by Middlesbrough. And now Kinder again down this near side. Vladimir Kinder for Middlesbrough. Very sensible ball across the field to Blackmore, who's got a little bit more room, but he hits it straight at Dennis Wise. And it goes away to a Middlesbrough throw-in taken by Blackmore. Chelsea 1, Middlesbrough 0. 8 minutes to go in the cup final at Wembley, which hasn't really delivered, to be fair, on a warm, hot afternoon here at Wembley. Beck's header on, but no way Stamp, and Stamp really hasn't been able to make too much of an impression down that Middlesbrough right. And the ball is back again with that Chelsea goalkeeper, Grodas.
Yes, I haven't seen too much of Beck either, I feel, since he came on. I thought we might have seen a little bit more of him. Needs to work at his first touch on the ball to me. But the ball was not forward there, and I think Beck was really hoping that Stamp would make the run.
Well, now Zola, can he light up this occasion for Chelsea and really sort out the cup for them? He gives it the ball to Wise, who goes down under the challenge from Blackmore. Referee was happy with the challenge. And Middlesbrough are invited to clear. Pearson knocking it long down this near side, looking for Kinder to make the run against Sinclair. Sinclair times his tap back to Grodas well, and Grodas, the goalkeeper, clears out of play. The last team to appear in both of the finals, Sheffield Wednesday, came here in '93 and lost them both to Arsenal. Well, Middlesbrough eventually lost to Leicester in the replay, and they're losing in this FA Cup final to Chelsea, as Juninho can only find the head once more of Frank Leboeuf of Chelsea. Di Matteo, a little quieter in the second half. Zola takes over, knocks it down the left, and Scott Minto. Back comes Stamp to try and deny Minto the space. Zola again, lays the ball off to Wise. Wise for Eddie Newton, sitting very deep inside his own half. Chelsea playing it through the defenders. Leboeuf stabs it into Wise, laid off now to Newton. He's got Zola to the left, Hughes down the centre, and he's got Petrescu there as well. It's Petrescu in the area, right-footed chip, Zola far post. Newton is there to surely win the cup for Chelsea. Eddie Newton, one of the unsung heroes. He's not a Zola, he's not a Di Matteo, but he has a vital role in this Chelsea team, and he kept his balance perfectly there. Almost a case of Newton's gravity. It's 2-0 to Chelsea, and Chelsea, I fancy, for the first time at Wembley, have won the FA Cup.
Well, it was lovely play by Chelsea. They kept the ball in possession at the back quite a while. And then when the ball was knocked through from LeBeuf, first of all to Newton to Petrescu. Petrescu knocked it right to the very back post. Zola had no chance of scoring himself. Seemed to side foot it with the outside of his right foot back across the goal. And Newton had made up the ground. And he's put the ball into the net. And surely won the cup now for Chelsea. You can't really see Borough coming back from that second goal, but it was a lovely goal, well-worked move.
5 minutes to go, and the look on Eddie Newton's face really said it all. You cannot see Middlesbrough now getting two to take us into extra time. 5 minutes to go at Wembley. Roberto Di Matteo after 42 seconds, and now Eddie Newton has sliced his way through to score the second. Newton, one of the beaten finalists with Chelsea here in 1994, when they were taken apart really by Manchester United on a rainy day, I remember here. Well, today it's been very, very warm, and although Middlesbrough have given it their best shot in the second half, they've missed Ravanelli and they've missed Musto, and they're going down just like Manchester City and Leicester and Brighton, who came to the cup final and also failed to win the FA Cup. The ball is with Dennis Wise. He's going to be the winning captain, I think, over on that left-hand side. Di Matteo, little reverse ball to Zola. Vickers is there. Goalkeeper's there as well, but Vickers takes responsibility, clears and finds Blackmore. But the game's up, I think, for Middlesbrough, and their supporters could be seeing now for the last 4 minutes in a red shirt of Middlesbrough, the likes of Juninho and Emerson. Juninho to Beck. Beck partially controls it, but then Chelsea's players are coming back in midfield, and Minto will now clear over on the left-hand side. And overall, Chelsea, there can be few complaints, I think, from the northeast of England. Deserve to be leading here by 2 goals to nil as Minto goes down, and it's a free kick to Chelsea.
Bit of frustration there in Stamp's play. I think Minto's played well for Chelsea. Out on that left side, what he's done, he's played defensively and come into the attack when he's had to do. Left-footed player, I've always liked a left-footed player on the left side of the field playing wide. Just got past Stamp there, they were restricted.
Zola. Again, Zola. He skipped round 2 challenges. Gives the ball to Hughes. Zola goes down edge of the area. Referee says play on. Dive from Zola. Middlesbrough clear. Looking now for consolation. 4 minutes to go. Middlesbrough now looking tired. And they've given it away. Hughes to Petrescu. Edge of the area. Di Matteo is in the area. Petrescu still holds. Now Di Matteo left-hand side. Dennis Wise, who's worked very intelligently for his side today. Back into midfield, and the man who surely has sewn it up here, Eddie Newton. Wise again, far side for Chelsea. Chelsea 2, Middlesbrough 0. Chelsea have never won a major cup final at Wembley. Scott Minto goes down the left-hand side, and Chelsea are buying time now. Have to throw into Middlesbrough deep in defence. There are no flags away to our left from Middlesbrough, and it is totally blue here now at Wembley Stadium. Chelsea supporters have waited so long for this. So long. The ball with Middlesbrough. Long one from Pearson down the centre. Sinclair's back there with a header and concedes a corner.
Yes, did the right thing. Played for safety. That's all Chelsea have to do now. Middlesbrough tried that long ball. They've tried it all through the match. It hasn't been quite successful enough for them. Once or twice the pass has been under it, but the running offside has caused them a problem.
Juninho with a Middlesbrough corner. Left-hand side, away, a flying clearance by Frank Leboeuf. Middlesbrough to retrieve it. Absolute bedlam away to our right now from those Chelsea supporters. Long ball hoisted in for Middlesbrough. Vickers controls it. Looks for Beck. Away, not very far by Sinclair. It's Dennis Wise who will clear. Back up towards the halfway line. Gianluca Vialli still warming up down there, but I don't think the great Vialli's going to come on now for Chelsea with only 2 minutes to go. The man who lifted the European Cup, of course, just 12 months ago with Juventus. Middlesbrough still knocking it about, but everybody from Chelsea now back inside their own half as Vickers floats the ball in. Header by Beck! No, the flag's gone up again. Far side, he's offside, and it's no goal.
I have lost count of the number of offsides that they've had, actually.
Actually, Vialli is going to come on. He is going to come on. Ruud Gullit is going to allow Gianluca Vialli to be on the field when Chelsea win this cup in a couple of minutes' time, and that's quite a gesture from Ruud Gullit, I think. Gianluca Vialli is going to enter this great arena in just a few moments for Chelsea. They lead by 2 goals to 0. Remember when they were 2-0 down against Liverpool earlier in the competition, and Mark Hughes came on to turn it all around for them. Remember that dramatic winner against Leicester City. That was the night many people thought their name was on the cup. Now Beck trying to go forward against Steve Clarke. He's had a very good match at the back of Chelsea. It's away for a throw into Middlesbrough, and now here comes the change, and here comes the welcome for one of the world stars. Gianluca Vialli waits patiently, the number 9 on his shirt. We'll wait to see who's making way, and it's going to be the footballer of the year, Gianfranco Zola. Zola shakes hands with 2 Middlesbrough players. He gets a great ovation, and assured of an even bigger ovation, I think, coming on now will be Vialli. And Vialli's actually bowing in front of Zola down there. That's a lovely touch. And here comes Vialli. And Chelsea are seconds away from the FA Cup. He may not even get a touch, Vialli. Throw to Middlesbrough, 10 yards from the corner flag. Over on the right. I'm sure that Ruud Gullit here, as the header comes in from Stamp, I'm sure Ruud Gullit here has allowed his heart to rule his head for these last few minutes. And he said to Vialli, go on, go out there, enjoy it, make the most of it.
Bit of theatre at the end of the cup final, I feel. You know, that's what it is, because Zola, you know, hasn't done anything to warrant being taken off. You know, I think he's one of those players, really, that's been instrumental in Chelsea's revival this season. Anyway, it's a nice moment for Vialli.
Is he going to get a touch? He's challenging Pearson. He's now alongside Mark Hughes. And the referee, Stephen Lodge, is now about to play added time here. The wrestling match which we could do without between Emerson and Dennis Wise. All very childish. Emerson being pulled away by Roberto Di Matteo. The closing seconds, one suspects, of Emerson's English career, ending here in a scruffy way, really. The referee will want Dennis Wise to come across, and he'll perhaps request a handshake here between the two players. Well, there's an embrace, and now we are playing the time, added on by Stephen Lodge, who's had not a bad game, the referee, at all. The match itself hasn't quite reached the heights. Chelsea've done enough, and now Vialli gets his first touch, and who knows, maybe even his last touch as a Chelsea player. The ball is away from Dan Petrescu. It doesn't matter. The back pass is laid to Ben Roberts. And Steve Lodge now is just going to add on a little bit of time. But there's not enough time for Middlesbrough. The cup is going to Stamford Bridge.
Yes, I've got a lot of sympathy for Middlesbrough this season. 2 cup finals, relegation as well, for the fans especially. Up on Teesside, they've travelled a few miles watching them, and they must be desperately disappointed. But at least, you know, they've seen the team in 2 cup finals. That may not be much of a compensation.
And Ken Bates, who's sitting alongside the Duchess of Kent, is waiting as Vialli goes forward. Cleared by Vickers to the far side for Chelsea corner. Ken Bates about to savour the moment here, his first real major trophy since becoming the Chelsea chairman. And the corner kick to be taken by Wise. Zola now no longer on the field. That's been a little party piece this afternoon. Wise and Zola. Now it looks like it's going to be Wise and Minto. We've already played a couple of minutes of added time as the ball is switched back to Eddie Newton. Wonder if he'll have the last touch of the cup final. The man who really finally settled it with that second goal. No way Middlesbrough would come back after that. That moment for them in the second half when Vickers went through and Grodas, the Chelsea goalkeeper, made what will turn out to be a crucial save. Chelsea lay it back once more to Frode Grodas away to our left.